I think we asked, are transgender women female?
Yeah. If they identify as female, then they're...
You can't...
Clarify for her really
Scientifically,
quick.
no.
Yeah, wait, hold
They're
on. Are we
not.
I'm talking about sex. Female, male pertains to sex.
Biologically speaking, no.
Okay. And then, hold on, there's two chats that are coming through. This one's for you.
Dean Withers donated $199.
Definitely not Dean.
Chair number 4, you are pursuing an obscenity and cannot have a consistent view. You are failing your future women patients.
Where is my view inconsistent?
I do have a question on the OBGYN thing. If a male came to see you once you become an OBGYN and they're like, hey, I think my period is coming, what would you tell them?
So that would never happen because I'm going into birth work. So they would have to be pregnant.
Okay, can a male become pregnant?
Are we talking about like if they've gone between like female to male transition?
You can't transition your sex, but can a male become pregnant?
Biologically speaking, no.
So, okay.
So where are my views not being consistent? I want to know that.
Well, I'm just curious though, if a transgender woman who's male came to see you and was like, I think I'm pregnant,
I would explain to them that that is scientifically not possible, unfortunately, yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you where
Yeah,
I'll show you where your view. I think we've untangled this, and I actually will show you where your view's inconsistent, right? And I'll do it with a single question: can a white person change their race if they identify as being a black person?
Race and gender expression are two completely different topics.
Aren't they both immutable?
Race and gender are completely incomparable.
Are they immutable?
Pardon?
Is your sexual expression an immutable characteristic? Part of you.
I'm not understanding your question, but sure. I have no idea.
Can you, so you're
Dumb it down
born
for me
this
here.
way. You're born with it. You're born this way. You can't change it, right?
Like I said, there are tales as old as time of people transitioning. I think that is kind of absurd to compare that to race.
I'm just at, why can't you change your race?
Take that up with people who want to change their race. Why don't you?
What if
I'm just asking for consistency. If you're a white person, why can't you identify as being a black person and be able to use the N-word and be able to do
Probably
all of the
because of
things?
the discrimination
Why can't you?
black
Why
people have
can't you participate in activities related to that community, just like men are trying to do with women? Why not?
Probably because
Sounds
of
reasonable.
the
Go
past
ahead.
discrimination and like.
I mean, they probably could if they
slavery in
would,
the
to be
US.
honest.
It's been a whole thing. I feel like those two things are very incomparable.
Well, that doesn't answer the question. I understand that you don't think that the comparison is good, but you didn't
So how
actually
can I
answer
answer
why
it
a
if I
person
don't?
self-IDs. If I self-ID right now as black, am I?
No, because race and gender are not comparable. Those are two
But
completely different
what about my
topics.
self-identification?
Yeah, but there's a difference because I'm sitting here saying that if you are born a man, your chromosomes will never change. If you are born white, your skin color isn't going to change. But that's not to say that if you were to identify as a woman, you're not a woman.
Wait, I'm sorry. Isn't race a social construction just like gender?
No, I'm pretty sure that that's biological.
So you think that there's biological races and it's not a social construction?
I mean, I guess, yeah, you are born.
I mean,
with a
that's
certain,
what the
are we
Nazis
talking about
believe.
ethnicity? Like, yeah, you're born
That's
with a certain ethnicity.
I mean, that's what Nazis believe, right? That there's individual races, but my understanding was that from the left
I mean,
view,
we're all
that
human.
race is a social construction.
We're all human beings. If we're talking about ethnicity, then like.
No, I'm not
you're
talking about
born-
ethnicity. I'm talking about race. Race is a social construction, right?
I feel like I don't know enough about this topic for me to state.
Okay. Well, either
Michael
way,
Jones donated $200. Brian and Andrew, what I have learned over the years is this: do not necessarily attribute to malice that which can be more easily attributed to incompetence. Chair 1 isn't trolling, she's just low IQ.
Thank you, Michael Jones. I do appreciate it. Andrew, go ahead. You were about to.
Yeah, so look, I'm not going to beat you up about it. I'm just showing you that it's inconsistent either way. So if race is a social construction, just like gender, then you should be able to change your race because it's a social construct. However, if it's immutable, just like sex, then there's no reason for us to believe that you can change whatever your expression of the sex is either.
I believe
So either
that
way,
trans
it's
rights are human
inconsistent
rights,
both
and I
ways.
stand on that
If
point
I
blank
can't
period.
change, if you can change gender as a social construct, you could say, wait a second, you can become the thing you're not. I don't know why I can't do that with race. That makes no sense. That literally is inconsistent. It's bizarre, makes no sense. I should be able to do that if it's just a social construct. If it's not, and it's immutable, then you're saying they're not that thing anyway. So it's like both ways it's inconsistent. It's just not a tenable position.
My view
But-
is that trans rights are human rights, and you can be whoever the hell you want to be, and you can believe whatever the hell you want to believe.
Then I can be black, right?
I don't. I'm sorry.
You don't know?
That-
I thought everybody could be whatever the hell they want to be, but I can't be black?
I feel like those two things are not comparable.
I
And
feel
I
like
stand
if
on
there
that.
was
Can I
a
be
way
an
of
Asian
people
woman?
being able to change their race this day and age, I'm pretty sure they would be doing it. It would just, it's a thing. Like, people are identifying as toasters these days, do you know what I mean? Like, if you could change your race, I'm sure there would be some people out there that would like to do that,
Scott Bobble donated $200. Didn't she say she dated a man making $500K? Talking about corner woman. Corner right.
Wait, what?
What does that have to do with anything?
I think she was saying in high school she dated a guy who was a millionaire or something. I don't know. Something
he
like
had
that.
money in his family. They were $1 million family, multi-million-dollar family.
I mean, that doesn't really translate necessarily to his.
His bank account had over $1 million in it.
Hey, you donated
Over $1 million.
$200. Approximately 1% of the population has schizophrenia, and at least half of those have delusions, such paranoid or grandiose. Should we support them in their delusions, because it's how they truly feel?
So you can see on a brain scan, and you can see where those hallucinations are coming from and what parts of the brain they're coming from. If it is a medical thing, then they should get the help that they need.
So what about anorexia?
Sorry, what?
Anorexia is a very common delusion. You can't determine in the brain where it comes from. It's a social disorder, right? But it's clearly classified as a delusion.
Correct
Why
me
is
if
it that
I'm
we
wrong,
sh-
but body
why is it-
dysmorphia
hang on,
can
why is
be
it-
seen in
why is it-
brain
okay,
scans.
So anyway, I'd like to finish
Anorexia
answering
and
or
body
asking the question, then you can answer
Dysmorphia are
it.
two very, very different things.
Absolutely.
One is incredibly dangerous and can kill you, and the other one is just in your mind.
Both are incredibly dangerous and can kill you. We've already
Yeah.
established that because you claim that the unalivement rate of self-unalivement by one is extremely high. So it sounds like that can kill you too. It sounds like it's a really bad social behavior reinforced just
You know
like
what kills
anorexia.
people? Not being accepted. That's what kills people. What kills people is the feeling
Well, yeah, so we
that
should accept
they...
anorexics.
Sorry? I'm sorry, I
We should
cut you
accept
off.
We should accept anorexia.
No, because that's an immediate...
a
That's a
disease.
completely different thing,
That's a horrific
Eating
disease.
disorders are gnarly. Like, they are super gnarly. And I think I can speak for majority of women when I say that you've woken up, you've looked in the mirror, and you haven't felt great that day. That's body dysmorphia. Anorexia is something completely different. It is a completely different body.
So you think that unhealthy behavior should be stigmatized? Like anorexia, we should stigmatize it. Like we shouldn't be telling girls they should be anorexic because it leads to bad results for them.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't tell a girl that she
Then
should starve
why
herself.
am I going to tell girls or men that they should become women if it leads to bad results for them? Like it seems like we should put a stigma on that too. That just seems to logically track.
I think ultimately you can do what you want.
Period.
Like if you want to be anorexic, do it.
If you must be
Awesome.
anorexic and
That's
you really want to be
This is fucking
anorexic,
great.
then you need
Hey, if you want to be
need help.
anorexic, be anorexic.
No,
Hey,
you need help. But
Wanting to change your gender, I wouldn't say is a disease. I wouldn't refer to that as being a disease, something that could potentially
I
kill
agree.
you.
I
I believe being
completely agree.
anorexic is a really
Being anorexic will
Horrific.
physically
It sure sounds
kill you.
like-
Being
well, it sounds like
transgender
if I
can
have
kill
to-
you
it
because of
sounds
the
like
social repercussions.
If your delusion is so bad that if I don't use the proper pronouns, you may unalive yourself, that sounds like a really bad delusional condition.
It's not the
which
proper
should be
pronouns.
stigmatized, just like anorexia is a condition which can be really bad for the person. I mean, this seems to
bad
track
as
for
in
me
kill
just
you.
fine.
You keep on going back to like proper pronouns will kill someone. That is not what kills someone.
It's the bullying.
It's the death threats. It's the consistently feeling like you are one of one, you are alone, you are not supported by your peers. It is the isolation that kills people.
Read it first.
I would. Well, okay, wait a second. So, I'm really confused by this. So that
what?
condition then sounds really, really dangerous to have, and probably
It's not a
since
condition.
It's really dangerous to
It's
have
not a
it,
medical
because
condition.
I mean, in someone's
It's not a
opinion, it
medical
might be,
condition?
I
but
mean, I guess, yeah.
It's not a
it's-
medical condition now. I'm super confused at this whole thing. So
When you're
it sounds
talking
like
about
it's a really
anorexia-
bad condition to have, and we should probably
When
try
you're
to
talking about
have as many people
anorexia-
avoid the condition as possible, right?
When talking about anorexia, you're talking about something that is malnutrition. They are like physically starving themselves, but it
They're
is their
mentally
body giving
ill.
out on them, you know?
Yeah.
Transgender people, it is
sounds very dangerous. It sounds like
self-inflicted. If we're
it's very
talking
dangerous.
about self-delete or whatever the hell
well,
I'm
it's
supposed to
saying
call it.
that it's a mental illness. I'd say anorexic. Yeah, anorexic people are. There is mental illness there. Is that what you're saying? That transgender people are mentally ill?
Like gender dysphoria is a mental illness. It classifies
That's
the
fine to have
DSM-5
that
as
as
a
an
mental
opinion, but
illness. It's the same. It's a mental illness, just like anorexia is a mental illness.
For people
It sounds
wanting
like if
to
you want- All right, go ahead.
change their gender, that's a mental illness. Okay.
Well, no, I didn't say that. I said that gender dysphoria or dysmorphia, whichever way you want to term it, that is classified in the DSM-5 as a mental illness, just like anorexia is classified as a mental illness that needs to be treated. So the thing is pretty interesting. I'd just like to notate, if you want people to stop being anorexic because it leads to really bad results, reinforcing that delusion, why is it that you would want to reinforce the delusion of the other if it leads to really bad results still? It's
Because
just silly to me.
transgender people will also self-delete if they don't get to express themselves authentically.
Yeah, people
I
are
see.
happier.
So if
Some people
anorexic
feel like they're
people
born
say
in
that
another
they're going-
body, don't
Can
they?
I ask you a question?
Hang on. Yeah, right after this. So if anorexic people...
Hey, Blake, you gotta put it
say-
on- Go ahead, Andrew.
So if anorexic people say then that they were going to self-delete themselves if you did not allow them to be anorexic, would you then reinforce that society should allow them to be?
I think there's a complete difference between
Can you
anorexia
answer
and
my
being
question?
transgender. That
Can you
is
answer
such
my
a
question?
hot...
Can you answer my question though? Can you answer the actual question I asked
Sorry,
you without
repeat your
obfuscating?
question, because to me it's not making sense. Clearly our views don't
Yeah.
align.
So would you then?
but-
So by your logic, then, if people had, you said people will unalive themselves if they're not allowed to do the activity. In this case, gender expression. Okay. Well, if anorexic people then said that they would unalive themselves if you did not allow them to be anorexic, you then would have to say that we should be reinforcing their anorexia, right?
It's not comparable and you sound ignorant.
Can you answer the question?
It's not comparable and you sound ignorant. That's
Well,
my
why? I
answer.
don't understand. What? I don't understand here.
Anorexia and
what's
being
the distinction?
transgender are not comparable.
If people were going to unalive
Like, at
themselves,
all.
if you didn't let them be
ridiculous.
anorexic, would you then tell them that they should be anorexic?
It's not fucking comparable.
Well, one threatens your life and the other doesn't. So I would absolutely.
It sounds like both of them really threaten your life quite a bit.
I think it does the
Otherwise, why are
opposite.
you holding people
Transgender.
emotionally hostage and saying
I know
you don't
so
do
many
this thing,
transgender
they're gonna
people
unalive
that
themselves.
feel like they're born.
thriving
Absolutely, and now
who
they're
are
so
thriving
happy because
of self-expression.
well, because they.
Being transgender doesn't immediately equal wanting to kill
Michael
yourself.
Jones donated $200.
If anything, it's the opposite.
Anorexia
Yeah.
takes about 10k people a year. Transgenderism is about 1 million attempts a year. That's 100 times more. I would be very concerned about a mental illness that affects over 1 million people.
I'll say this, if you think that a transgender woman is male, so their sex, so a transgender woman, you think that their sex is female, you're literally a science denier.
Well, I never agreed with that. Are you targeting me in that
I'm
statement?
speaking in general.
Okay.
I know some people here's position is transgender women are females. Biology is a hard science. It's not a soft science like psychology, sociology. Hard sciences like biology, there's established fact. It's not up for negotiation, not up for debate. And yeah, it's just kind of crazy.
Well, if you wanted to ask me the question that you wanted to ask him, I
No,
did make
it's
the deal
okay.
that I would answer your question. So.
No, it's okay. Honestly, I feel like our views don't align. And like I said previously, I believe in your right to feel the way that you feel and express yourself authentically. I believe in my right as well. I'm completely cool with you feeling that way. I'm completely cool with me feeling this way. We're not going to come to a meeting ground here, I feel like, It's not productive to just keep on going in circles about the same thing.
Okay. I did have some other questions, Brian, that maybe will be a little lighter, but also maybe hilarious. You guys want to maybe switch topics, make it a little lighter? What do you think?
That would
Let
be
me,
great.
yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna do a couple more things. Then we're gonna, Blake. Do we have the age? Okay, we'll do that in just a moment.
what?
I guess. Look, where we started here was the prompt was a man dating a transgender woman is not straight. To bring it back to dating, so essentially the position is as follows. So if we're looking at the definition of heterosexual sex. So that's sexually or romantically attracted exclusively to people of the other sex, right? So it doesn't say gender. It's literally in the word itself, heterosexuality. Straight is short form slang for heterosexual. So to me, it's kind of like if the word sex is in the actual word heterosexuality, that pertains to your attraction to somebody's sex, not their gender. And so my confusion there is if two males are having sex, regardless of their gender identity, that would definitionally not be straight. It would not be heterosexual. It cannot be that. Two males, regardless of their gender identity, regardless of the medical procedures they've had, they have some fake titties, they got a wig, they got long hair, they look like a woman. But if you got two males having sex, that's not heterosexual, and it can never be heterosexual, regardless of the gender identity. I don't know if you want to contend with this or not.
I'm sorry, I zoned out, honestly. I'm so done with this topic.
Well, I think
we're all very
there's a
clear
bit
on
of
what I believe.
cognitive. Sure, there's like some cognitive dissonance because you're like, whoa, my position is untenable.
No, it definitely is.
You think your position is tenable? Okay.
Yes, I believe trans rights are human rights. I
Yeah,
stand
we're not
on
talking
that.
about trans rights, and like.
And I
So
just feel like
again,
this is going to keep on going.
Yeah, sure, but so like I kind of didn't get any answers to the previous thing, which was like if a student in high school doesn't want to use the preferred pronouns of the other person, but they're not bullying them, they're not like, oh my God, you're so gross. They're not doing any of that. They're just like, I'm not gonna call this person a she. They're a male.
I think that's okay.
Do you think that student should face consequences?
They're not being nasty.
Yeah,
then
I'm not asking you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. If they're not, I don't know. I don't know if I agree, honestly. That's a hard one for me because I believe that you should never be malicious towards anyone for any reason. I think that you should allow people to express themselves freely and authentically. I also believe that you should allow people to express themselves freely and authentically, which would go against my point. Not everything is as black and white as you're trying to make it out to be.
How am I making it black and white?
You keep on asking very black and white, extreme questions. Like, it's not one
Do
or
you
the
think
other.
biological sex is nuanced?
Biological sex is biological sex. We went over
Yeah,
this. Your
so it
chromosomes
is-
are chromosomes.
There's male and female, and there's like rare.
But then there's also like gender expression.
Okay, and
And
yeah, but why do I even need to accept this idea that we need to even view it in that realm? Like, why can't I just reject this idea of gender identity or gender expression and say my view is strictly about sex?
you can believe whatever the hell you want to believe.
I don't. But yeah,
Said
but
that.
yeah, I don't. I actually don't believe this. Like, do you think that like the Klan should be able to believe what they want to believe?
Probably, again, if it's malicious and if you are like harming people, then like don't fucking do that.
But I think it's harmful for people to pretend that they are the opposite sex and want me to participate in the delusion. I think that's harmful to me.
I'm sorry that you think that that's harmful to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry that you think the Klan is harmful. You see how unproductive that actually is?
Again, I feel like my opinions are very like, we all know where I stand. We know who I stand with.
Okay,
Can we go to those other topics we
Here,
were talking
a couple
about?
final
Not
things
because I'm
here.
uncomfortable, but because damn, I've said everything I gotta say about this.
So I like a couple final things here.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, I mean, so do you think that a cis man giving oral sex to a transgender woman with a penis, is that heterosexual or homosexual?
Does she identify as a woman?
Yeah, it's a transgender
Does he
woman.
accept her as a woman? Like, does he view her as a woman?
Yes.
Sure.
Then sure, that can be heterosexual.
Okay, a cis man having penetrative anal sex with a transgender woman, is that heterosexual or homosexual?
That's pegging, my friend. some kinky.
It's a cis
you
man.
Can be,
Yeah.
yeah,
Would
you
that
can be into
het-
butt stuff and
Yeah, but would it
still-
be heterosexual or homosexual?
Dude, there's so many straight guys who are into
Love it up the arse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the question,
There's a
though.
lot of straight guys who are into having actual men's dicks up their butt, are there?
Here,
Yes.
I'll move
That
on
is
from-
exactly what I
That
just
is
said.
math-
Thank you for the clarification.
I've got a lot of gay friends I know about this.
Those would be called homosexuals if they want to get men's dick in their butt. Those would be homosexuals.
Is
Here.
it being done by a woman? Is there
Well, that wouldn't be a dick, would it?
if the person is
That would be
transgender
stuck
and
in something up
we
their
are
butt,
both
but it would not be a penis, would it? It would be something that's not a penis if it was done by a woman. Unless you're saying that it's done by a woman with a penis, in which case a man, and I would say that's homosexual, right?
So a strap on. What about that?
Well, okay, here, two more on this specific thing. A lesbian cis woman being penetrated by a transgender woman with a penis.
Oh my god, so confusing.
Is that heterosexual or homosexual?
they're two lesbians, yeah?
No, well, hold on. It's a lesbian cis woman, so a female,
Yeah.
who's being penetrated by a transgender woman
Yeah.
with a penis.
Oh.
That's lesbian sex.
So
It's
just
two
to be
women.
clear, lesbian sex can include a biological penis.
If there are two women,
They're two
Partake
women,
it.
but one of them has a penis.
yeah.
You would say that that's lesbian sex. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. Two pre-operative transgender women engaging in oral sex or penetrative sex. Is this heterosexual or homosexual?
It's two transgender women. So it's two women.
True pre-operative, so they both have a penis.
Yeah.
Two transgender women engaging in oral sex or penetrative sex. Is that heterosexual or homosexual?
I mean, that's gay.
blowing-
It's
it's
gay.
blowing.
If there's
That
two-
would be-
if there's two
oh, that's
women-
interesting.
No,
Okay.
and by gay I mean lesbian. And by gay I mean lesbian. When I say gay,
So it'd be two lesbian penises.
oh yeah.
Wait,
It'd just be
just-
gay. It'd be gay in
Sounds like a
general.
great
It'd be gay in
time.
general, wouldn't it? Because it would be the same.
That's what I
two
said,
dicks or
girl.
two vaginas. It's
Can I ask
still
you a
the same.
question? Do you know what pansexual is?
Yeah.
So that would be pansexual. Because it's not.
What does
homosexual-
pansexual mean?
Pansexual.
So sorry.
Pansexual is like when you are into trans people.
Oh,
also.
okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's when you're into anyone of any kind.
Yeah,
for
it's
So,
it's so
here.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. What pronouns does a baby have before they can speak?
where they can speak,
Yeah, before like a child can speak, what pronouns do they have?
whatever they were born with, until they can speak otherwise, until they can say, hey, I don't feel this way. I mean, there's a reality TV show about that trans girl who came out at a very, very young age, and she to this day identifies as a woman.
Okay. But
And so
But-
I feel like whenever you can say, I don't feel right in this body, then that should be accepted.
so you wouldn't call your child like they, them until they've made a determination as to their own gender identity?
No, because more oftentimes than not, people do identify with the gender that they are born with. If my child comes to me and says, I feel like I'm transgender, mom, and I want to explore that, then we're going to go explore that. I am, again, all for expression, opinions, personal ideas.
Yeah. I guess final thing on this, because I didn't really get a question earlier. So you're the dictator,
Oh my lord.
and you can make a law that
Oh
would.
my god, I don't want to be the dictator, dog. And
You are,
point
but
or
you don't
case
even have
am
a-
I gonna dictate shit?
So would you, if you were the dictator, if you refused to be the dictator, then like should the government pass laws to criminalize people who refuse to use people's preferred pronouns?
I've already said I'm not gonna answer this question.
Why
because
not?
I feel like I don't
Because-
conceptualize it fully, and maybe that's like a dumb blonde moment.
I mean, that sounds
and
like a
B,
lot of cope for trying to duck the question. I think what essentially is going on
I
here.
feel like it's not up to me to dictate if someone should
Here,
be punished or not.
I'll make it super simple. There's a ballot that goes out in California. Have you voted
Yes,
before?
I voted.
Okay. So you know how there's ballot proposals?
Sure.
Okay. One of the ballot proposals is, should we criminalize to some degree, let's say, I'll start it simple. Should there be a $300 fine if an individual provably misgenders, intentionally misgenders?
Like maliciously trying to harm the other person.
I might be willing to grant that, but let's just keep it at this. They intentionally, they refuse to use the person's preferred pronouns, and you could vote on it. Would you vote yes, this should be criminalized with a fine?
I need to know if it's malicious or not. Like, I need to know if it is out to get that person.
How do you define malicious?
If it is out to hurt that person.
You guys, can you just speak
if
into
it's
the mic?
out to hurt that person. like,
How
if
would you
you're-
establish that?
Again, intent. Are you avoiding their pronouns because it makes you personally uncomfortable, but you're totally cool with their gender expression? Or are you avoiding their pronouns because you don't agree with what they're doing and you think that that person shouldn't have the right to change their gender?
So what would actually be wrong with the latter?
I think there's nothing wrong with the latter if you are not malicious, if you are not out to harm that person.
Okay, but when we're talking about malicious here, we need to be precise. So the person, their worldview is as follows. I don't believe that you can become a woman. I don't buy into the ideology.
Okay.
And so for this reason, they would say, I don't think it's malicious because this is what I believe. I believe that this person is a man, even though maybe they look like a woman, they say they're a woman. I believe this person is a man.
I feel
And-
like I'm not transgender, so I can't dictate.
But if
a
it was
ruling
on the
for
ballot,
transgender
if it was
people.
on the ballot, what would you vote for?
I would say exactly what I just said. I would have to discuss with my transgender friends and see what they would like me
Okay,
to advocate.
and so I'm going to
for.
grant in this hypothetical, all your transgender friends or 90% of your transgender friends are like, this is super objectionable, like the self-harm rate in the transgender community is really high. Maybe this will alleviate this. Yes, we should make this initially a fine.
I honestly still feel like I can't speak to this one.
You know,
And you can say that's dodging the
so
question.
here's what I'm just going to infer then. Your refusal to just outwardly say
don't put words in my
no.
mouth.
Well, I'm going to have to. So your refusal to just say, no, this is actually something that would be reprehensible. Like we shouldn't police speech in this way. I disagree with people who think like this, but should there be like a criminal fine, criminal penalty? Absolutely not. So your refusal to say no indicates towards yes. So that's all I can really go
I believe in
with.
free speech, and it's a
No, you
damn,
don't.
It's a
You
damn shame that-
categorically do not believe in free speech, but go ahead.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
Explain your position.
No, sure. I really don't want to keep on going back and forth on this topic just because
Why-
I feel like
why-
I can't specifically speak to this topic
If
as
you
well
believe
as
in-
a transgender
here.
person could.
If
I
you-
can only advocate for my community as much as I
If you
can.
believe in free speech, your answer should be no.
Again, I believe in free speech
No, you don't.
until it's hurting people, until it is actively causing harm.
Okay, so
And then
does
that is
it
a threat,
cause
which
does
in
it
America you're not allowed to threaten people.
does it cause harm for the scenario that I just painted of the person who doesn't believe in your ideology, who's like, I'm not going to call them names, I'm not going to insult them, but if they want me to call them a she and I think that they're a he, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to refer to them as a he. Does that cause harm? Yes or no?
I'm so done with this topic.
I know the cognitive dissonance is difficult to deal with because you've probably never been challenged on your ideology. You have total ideological capture on this.
Okay.
Total 100% ideological capture to the point that you're actually scared of forwarding your true position on this because you know it's like completely contrary.
My true
You're
position
refusing
on
to answer
this
it,
is-
so it's completely contrary to free speech.
Okay. I'm just going to agree
Yeah.
just so that you can stop with this topic. I believe that trans rights are human rights. I believe that you should be able to express yourself however you want to express yourself. And it's a damn shame that we even have to sit here and talk about if it should be illegal or not.
So it should be illegal then to misgender somebody.
It, again, depends on intention, and I feel like that cannot
Okay, here,
be...
fine, I'll grant it. They're malicious.
They're malicious. Like
It's
they're,
malicious.
Okay.
They're not calling the person a name. They're not, saying an actual insult. Perhaps you view it as
I don't
insulting.
know if there should be...
And it's malicious. Yes, malicious misgendering. They're like, this person is transgender, and yes, I'm going to misgender them because of what I believe. And sure, I'll grant it's malicious. Fine.
I don't think that there should be laws against any form of free speech because then that just goes against what this country is kind of like built around in free speech, and that argument can be shown so many different ways and so many different lights. I think that if it's malicious, you're a shitty person. Do I think that you are subject to imprisonment or a fine, like you were saying? I don't know.
Why isn't it just no?
I mean,
What do you mean you don't know? Shouldn't it be no? If I believe in free speech and these American values and blah, blah,
I guess no.
Shouldn't it just be no?
Then I guess no. But
I think you
I
secretly,
still think
you're like, fuck yes. Find them. That's what I think. But hey, whatever. You kind of it took you a little while to get to there, so. All right. Thank
I feel
you.
like you just wanted that
Scott
reaction
Bobble
out of me.
donated $200. Mental illness is not a joke. Love you, Brian. You transition from one subject to another without difference. Chair number one, who is a 5 average at best, should give her opinion too. Not many going at it.
I know, I feel like I'm kind of being...
I shared my opinion already. You asked me my opinion. Did I not?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I shared my opinion already.
Yeah, you can pull it.
But thank you for the tip. Appreciate it. You're welcome.
All right, we
Brian.
have Steve the Crow. Trans people want us to accept them for what they are when themselves were unable to accept themselves for that are. The hypocrisy, off the chart.
Trans people.
Okay, Steve the Crow, appreciate it. Thank you for
I love when
the...
people act smart, but they don't know grammar.
I have
up?
a question.
Yeah.
Why is this topic so important to you?
What do you mean?
Because it's a pinnacle topic when it comes to dating and modernity.
Isn't this a dating podcast too? So why
I mean,
am I
that
all
was
of a
the
sudden
prompt. That was-
dictating? Okay, but I
that was
already
the prompt.
I said my answer to that prompt, and now we're talking about like if it should be legal or if it should be illegal, and like that's
Yeah.
not dating.
Well,
mean,
so the
not
United-
what I
the
came
United
here for.
States- The United States right now is completely polarized by a left-right dichotomy.
Sure.
And this affects dating in a massive way. The left-right dichotomy does, where people will not date people of the opposite political persuasion, depending on how ideological they are. Men avoid feminists, men avoid women who are involved in trans issues, and women will often avoid men
Do
because
men
they're
avoid?
hang on. Women will often avoid men who are MAGA supporters or diehard Trumpers or things like this. So it is pertinent to dating and the dichotomy. This is one of the number one complaints I hear, in fact, in the dating community. I can't find a woman who's not a progressive. Or I can't find a man
So you
who
would
doesn't
say-
pretend to be progressive.
You would say that men would avoid me because of these views. Is
Oh,
what-
yeah, for sure. So
Yeah?
at least...
Men do
Dude, that's
not
crazy
avoid
the
her.
amount of men I'd have on my dick if I didn't have these views then, because there's still so many in my DMs. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure that they'll have sex with you.
You know, I've
Great.
had more relationships.
Great. You and every other woman on planet Earth who wants to get laid can do it at a moment's notice. Like, yeah, and nobody's ever going to dispute that that's true. But that really doesn't have anything to do with long-term dating prospects. The fact that
I don't
it's
have
not
any
news
issues
to
with
anybody
long-term
here
dating,
that
though.
young
I've-
women can have sex with men if they want to. Like, that's not news to anybody.
I'm in a relationship. That's kind of. I've been in
Yeah, and
long-term
your
relationships
statistical
as well.
chances-
People
your
are trying to
statistical
date
chances-
me. I don't
Your
get your
statistical
point here.
chance of staying in that relationship long term very low.
Is it?
At your age. At your age, yeah.
I mean, I guess, but all of my relationships have been long-term. So.
Is your boyfriend a male feminist?
And all of those other relationships are
Lord.
over.
He told me not to talk about him, but I feel like I can say that, yeah, he believes in human rights and female rights and
Female rights. Okay.
yeah.
So I mean, feminism.
I can't speak for him.
Okay, so he's
but
like a
he
male
has
feminist.
feminist
Is he a
views.
Did he vote
Sure.
for Kamala?
I'm not sure who he voted for.
Really?
We
You've been
weren't-
dating this guy for 5 months, and the election was just 5 months
I'm
ago.
pretty sure, yes, he voted. He voted.
What do you mean you're pretty sure? You might. Wait. Question.
I mean, I didn't ask him, but there's no way in hell he voted for
Well,
Trump. So honestly,
if he did vote for Trump,
he might have voted for the Green Party. That's what I mean. Like, I'm not sure, but it definitely was not
if
red.
he voted for Trump, would the relationship be over?
I think that that's kind of a hard one. What views is he aligning with for Trump? Like,
Immigration.
why is he?
Immigration.
He loves
Oh yeah,
Trump's
that's a
views.
problem. I think that if you.
So then it would affect dating.
Sorry.
So then it would affect dating.
I guess yeah, that is fair.
That's why these viewpoints are so important that we flesh them out. It's not to be mean. It's to show that there's a massive contrast which is happening right now in the male and female mind in the United States. Women are far more progressive than men are, and hold these various views that men generally just don't hold. And it has
know a
become a
lot
deal
of
breaker in a
men
lot
who
of
align with
long-term
my
relationships
views.
for men.
Like more men that align with my views than I do men who don't. But maybe
Yeah, well,
that's just where
and-
I'm from and
Sure, and you can
demographically
attribute that.
speaking. I guess that would
Yep.
make sense. But I also lived
Sure.
in other cities. I lived in Pennsylvania
Also,
for a while.
like, young-
very
here's the-
rural
here's-
cities.
Men in Pennsylvania are not going to align with your views, but in California, sure.
And also,
Okay.
just one thing, like, there's a lot of dudes who are like, especially Gen Z, younger guys, like 18 to 25, who like, they know the cohort of women they're dealing with is like overwhelmingly like super progressive, super liberal. They're just lying. They're just trying to hit. Like, they're not going to, like, if they're trying to fuck you, they're not going to be like, hey, by the way, I'm a Trump supporter. They're just going to not talk about politics, or they're going to lie about their politics just so they can hit. Just FYI to the ladies out there.